Danger Dolan. From black, yellow, brown and whiteface to a film that Disney won't even let you buy, we look at the 15 most racist movies ever.
Number 15.
Breakfast at Tiffany's. What, that classic film that people love? What could possibly be racist in that? Well friends, case in point is Mickey Rooney's yellow face. Yes, this film uses old Rooney to play a character named Mr. Yunoichi, the buck-toothed Japanese neighbor who looks like he just stepped out of a World War II propaganda poster. Classy. And there's the whole walking Japanese culture stereotype as well. Rooney has expressed regret over doing the role, not knowing that so many people would be offended by it. Apparently it took 40 years for him to learn that anyone was offended by it either. Really, Mickey?
Number 14.
The Love Guru. Oh Mike Myers, what happened to you? Was this terrible approximation of Hindu gurus the best thing you could think of? Taking the kind of cliches about Hinduism that were around 40 years ago and putting them into an unfunny comedy where Myers gets to use rejected Austin Powers jokes. The film tries to parody New Age movements and the celebrity status around the people who lead them, but focus more on showing gurus peeing in buckets. Myers is one coat of brown makeup away from making the worst comedy of the last decade. Oh wait, that pretty much is The Love Guru anyway. Sorry, Mike.
Number 13.
White chicks. So we all know blackface is terrible, but it's cool when it's black guys pretending to be white guys? No? Well, how about if they're women? During the double whammy of drag and whiteface, the film uses the old Valley Girl cliche and takes it to the exact same places it's been to in every other movie that uses it. Meaning you get to see tired jokes again, as well as men dealing with how to put on bras. While like most of the comedies on this list, it's not a mean-spirited film, but it uses stereotypes as its main joke, meaning that unfortunately a film by the people who made Little Man is not the discourse on race relations we all thought it would be.
Number 12.
Soul Man. And speaking of painting yourself up as another race, we have pretty much the inverse of white chicks. If only C. Thomas Howell was a woman, then it really would be. This 80s comedy revolves around a broke white kid who can't pay his college fees, so he ingeniously decides to pretend to be an African American in order to get in on that sweet scholarship money. Hijinks ensue. No prizes over why this one is on here. It's hard to believe that Soul Man actually exists and seems like it would be one of those film trailers in a social satire movie to make fun of how out of touch and racist Hollywood is.
Number 11.
The Chic. Going way, way back to 1921, it's going to be pretty easy to guess where this film is going to go. Yep, it's time for Arabic stereotypes, kidnappings, and forced marriages. The plot pretty much is about a sheik kidnapping a British woman he is obsessed with and forcing her into wedded bliss. The film portrays Arabs as savages who auction off women, and it pretty much set every Arab stereotype in Hollywood movies in motion. So now you know who to blame over why that happened. Too bad almost everyone who worked on the film is dead now and you can't shame them on Twitter.
Number 10.
Song of the South, a film so racist that even Disney won't let it out of the vault for people to see. How bad could it be? Well, if racist caricature animals are your thing, then this is the movie for you. And you probably got some issues as well. The film tells the story of Uncle Remus and his tall tales, which are all animated racial stereotypes. The film actually won an Oscar for Best Song, and James Baskett, the actor who played Uncle Remus, was the first male African American actor to win an Oscar. However, it was an honorary one, 2 years after the film came out. What the fuck, guys?
Number 9.
North. So how many cultures can you boil down to stereotypes and insult in a 90-minute runtime? Probably not as many as North managed to. Telling the story of a young boy named North who becomes a free agent from his parents, traveling the world to find a new family, which includes stops to a Hawaiian family who want to expose his ass for tourism, and to Alaska where Kathy Bates is in brownface to play an Eskimo. Not to mention visits to France, Africa and China that are all terrible. It's all pretty awful and plays on so many cliches that if you made a drinking game out of them, you would have alcohol poisoning before the first 30 minutes were done.
Number 8.
The Littlest Rebel. No, little Shirley Temple and tap dancing around. Why, she's going to go dance straight up to Abraham Lincoln and tell him to free a Confederate father from prison. Wait, what? Yes, The Littlest Rebel is full of Shirley Temple being an apologist for Confederate soldiers, which in itself is not a bad thing, but not while also reinforcing that the slaves actually didn't mind being slaves. and wouldn't know what to do with their freedom. Breaking up each tap routine with more Civil War era racism is exactly what you want to see in a movie that should have been absolutely anything else. Why would anyone think this was a good idea? Alright, the bigots.
Number 7.
The Mask of Fu Manchu. So the guy who played Frankenstein is a criminal mastermind in yellowface who wants nothing more than to destroy the white man. Great. The film is based around a character who at that point had been around for 2 decades, but was the one to popularize the Oriental menace, using lines like, "Kill the white man and take his women." It's fair to say that this film did not present Asians in a good light. Hell, with lines like that one, you could argue that this film is trying to incite a race war. Good job, guys. You made a hit film, but now you are at war with China.
Number 6.
Triumph of the Will. Speaking of films trying to incite the race war, well, less of a war, more of a slaughter, really. Yeah, we had to address the Nazi propaganda films at some point. Triumph of the Will is the most well-known of the work produced under Goebbels' watchful eye. While other films are on here because they present negative images of races, this film pumps up the Aryan race as the greatest thing since sliced bread, therefore the implication being all other races are inferior. It's a masterwork of propaganda that would be the mental primer for what would happen further down the line. Imagine if Goebbels had used his power for good instead of evil.
Number 5.
Black Rage. This terrible film comes from the era where it was totally acceptable to have an albino African American play a white man in a sleazy trash cinema. It's telling the story of how the albino and his non-albino brother escaped slavery to try and find fortune, while being hunted down by the guy who played Lurch in The Addams Family. The film also shows the non-albino brother to be rather stupid, while the albino guy is somehow articulate and painted as clever. I mean, far from me to question it, but where exactly is the Black Rage in a film mainly about a white guy hunting down another white guy? Maybe they thought white power would be a little too on the nose to use as a title.
Number 4.
Goodbye Uncle Tom. Who better to talk about slavery than the Italians? Everyone knows they are the experts on African slavery, right? This supposed documentary is pretty much a racist propaganda film in disguise that does reveal the horrors of slavery, but then does all but outright say it may have been terrible, but, you know, they deserved it? All the black actors in the film were also poor Haitians who were not well paid, and I'm guessing not well treated either. Plus the film is just one step away from being porn. God damn it, Italy.
Number 3.
Mandingo. Interracial couples in the South on a plantation. That sounds like a film that would be racially unbiased, and I have some bad news for you. Mandingo is an insane film featuring tons of racist characters, and while true to its time period, it fails to look at the issue and treats its African American characters as fetishized sex dolls for white people. So hey, slavery may be terrible, but that doesn't mean it can't also be sexy, right? Yes, it does mean it can't be sexy, just like the Holocaust can't be sexy, douchebag!
Number 2.
The Eternal Jew. Yes, back to the propaganda films from one of the worst regimes to ever exist in the history of ever. And boy, did they like to make films about it. The Eternal Jew follows closely along the lines of Triumph of the Will, but this one is less about how great the Aryan race is and more of a checklist of how Jewish people have ruined society and need to be dealt with. This takes all the vitriol that the Nazis have spoken against the Jews and packs it into a tidy cinematic package to brainwash the masses with. If Triumph of the Will is the redneck guy down the road who has questionable views on immigration, then the Eternal Jew is the Ku Klux Klan Grand Dragon.
Number 1.
Birth of a Nation. What a time the early days of cinema must have been. The magic of movie cameras, the special effects of the George Méliès, and the feature films where the KKK are the hero. That's right, the KKK are here to rescue you from all the black menace who can't control their sexual desires. Plus all the African Americans are white actors in blackface, so yeah. The movie romanticizes the KKK and makes out that they are here as saviors for the American people, not just black Americans. The film, however, is a tentpole in the history of cinema and unfortunately will always be recognized as such, meaning that we owe most of modern cinema to this racist film. The KKK ruined everything. That's it for this countdown. And have a good one!